Hello students, and welcome to part 2 of how to correctly complete a Math Weekly. So the first thing that you need to do is to take your lined piece of paper, write your name and Math Weekly practice at the top, create a T-chart labeling the left side answer and the right side justify. If you need to pause the video to give yourself time to do so, you have my permission. So once you have your T-chart created, I want you to look at your practice Math Weekly handout, which has 4 questions. We're going to do one of each type of question that you may encounter. So the first type of question that you may encounter is an open-ended question, which means it has no answer choices, that requires justification through work being shown. So in other words, you can't solve this problem without doing some calculations. So since it's open-ended, on our answer side, we are going to end up restating the question. And on the justify side, since it needs work to be shown, we're going to be showing calculations there to justify our answer. So to start, let's put a number 1 here, because this is question number 1 and we want to make sure that we know which answer goes with which question. Now, let's read our question together. A developer has 24.5 acres of land. She buys an adjacent plot of land and increases the total acreage she owns by 20%. So she gains 20% of 24.5 acres. How many acres of land does she now have in all? So we don't want to just find what she gained, but how much she has in all. So I'm going to justify my work, justify by showing work. That does not mean I can't use words, it just means that I'm going to have to make some calculations. So far, I'm picking out the key information, so I have to keep looking back. She has 24.5 acres. She gains, which means to add, 20% of the 24.5 acres. So this is where the calculation comes in. Of means I have to multiply. When I have a percent, I'm going to have to change it to a decimal. That's 0.20. And I'm going to have to times it by 24.5. Now please don't worry if you didn't know that you had to change that to a decimal. Remember, we're looking at and working on this video, what does it look like to show my work? Can you see that I'm showing work? Okay, good. So we're going to take 0.20 times 24.5, so I'm going to put 24.5 times 0.20. Now I don't need to multiply the 0 because 0 times anything is just itself, so I'll just put a 0 as a placeholder and start multiplying the 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 more makes 9. 2 times 2 makes 4. I have 3 decimal places, 2 from my decimal and 1 from my acreage, so I have to go over 3 places. So she gained 4.9 acres. Now she had 24.5 to start, so we're going to have to add them together to get the total. 9 plus 5 makes 14. 4 plus 4 is 8, and 1 more makes 9. 2. Decimal lines up when you add. So 29.4 acres. So do you see how I have work to justify the answer that I got? I didn't just write 29.4 answers. Poof, there it is. I have work to support it. Now I'm only half finished with this question. I need to then show my answer. Since it's an open question, I need to write a sentence. We can find the sentence to write by looking at our question. How many acres of land does she have now in all? So I'm going to use those words in all. I'm not going to put she. This time I'm going to put she because I don't know the developer's name. I can also write the developer. So in all, the developer has 29.4 acres. So this is what it would look like to solve an open-ended question that needs work. Now, let's look at another open-ended question, but this one does not lend itself to work, but more to an explanation in order to justify. So, does the following statement represent a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation? Positive correlation means as one goes up, so does the other. Negative correlation means as one goes up, one goes down. And no correlation means those two things are not related at all. Okay? So here's the statement. The warmer the weather, so that's going up, the more people who pay admission to the local public swimming pool. So do you see how it's like warmer, that's up, and more people, that's up. So that's up, as one goes up, so does the other. That's a positive correlation. So on this side, I'm going to put my answer. So you're putting a number 2. Make sure you put a line across, straight across in between 1 and 2. So number 2, I will say the statement represents, and you can see I got these words right here, a positive correlation. Now I got to justify it. So as the weather increases in temperature, so does the number of people going to the pool. There's a few different ways you could say that, but notice I didn't just write what it said up here. I put it in my own words. So as the weather increases in temperature, so does the number of people going to the pool. Up, as one goes up, so does the other. This shows that I didn't just randomly pick positive correlation out of the 3 options, but I understand why I picked it. You could also define a positive correlation and then say this. So what I'd like you to do is put a line across. We're going to look at question number 3. Question number 3 is a multiple choice question, but it requires work to be shown. So on the answer side, where we have our 3, all I'm going to be writing is a letter. But over here, I'm going to be showing work to figure out why I picked that answer. So let's read the question. Evan has a hot dog cart. His hot dogs sell for $3.50 each. He has sold $28 worth of hot dogs so far today. Ethan wants his hot dog, I should say Evan. You can change on paper. Evan wants his hot dog sales to be more than $70 today. Notice, more than 70. Which of the following best describes the number of hot dogs? Maybe it's supposed to be Ethan, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Evan must sell in order to meet his goal. Does he have to sell at least 20, more than 20, fewer than 20, or no more than 8? Now I see that they all have 20, so I'm going to start with 20 in my work. I want to see how much money he'd make if he sold 20 hot dogs. So I'm going to do $3.50 times 20. Don't need to multiply zeros, just use this placeholder. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 more is 7. And then 2 over, plus he has $28 that he already sold, so that makes $98 in profit. So if he sells 20 hot dogs, yeah, he'd make more than $70, wouldn't he? But that's way more than just 70, so let's try 8. So $3.50 times 8 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 3 is 24, and 4 more makes 28, plus the $28 that he already has. 8 plus 8 is 16. 2 and 2 is 4, and 1 more is 5. So that only makes $56. So if he sells 20, he'll make it. But if he sells 8, he won't. So is it D? No. Now, which one of these is true? Does he have to sell at least 20 hot dogs to make $70? No, because he could sell a little less than that because this is much higher. Does he have to sell more than 20 hot dogs? No, because he could sell 20 hot dogs and make it. Does he have to sell fewer than 20 hot dogs? Yeah. And we could figure out exactly how much that is, but we can see now that 20 is way over. So I'm going to put my answer choice is C. C, and this work shows that I can justify that. That is an example of a multiple choice question and you showing calculations. Now let's look at the last type. A multiple choice question that requires justification through explanation. So you can't show work for this one. You want to explain your thinking. So which sentence best describes how the cross section, that's when you cut a shape, of the square pyramid below was formed? So how did they cut this square pyramid? The square pyramid was sliced perpendicular to the base. The square pyramid was sliced parallel to the base. The square pyramid was sliced diagonal to the base. The square pyramid was sliced parallel to a lateral face. Base is the bottom of the figure, so you're looking at this right here. The slice is this piece right here. You can see that they're parallel to each other. Now, you can talk about what parallel means. If they continued, would these two sections ever cross? No, they're parallel to each other. So for number 4, our best answer is B. And here's why. The cross section, and you can even, draw it. The cross section is parallel to the base. Now, all I did so far was just restate the answer a little bit, but the cross section is parallel to the base because if they were extended, they would never cross. Do you see that this justification proves that I didn't just randomly pick an answer, but it proves my thinking? And I'm not always concerned about your correct thinking, but when I can see your incorrect thinking and why you got an answer wrong, it is then that I can best help you learn more. Thank you, and best wishes in your Math Weekly endeavors. If you ever have questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd be glad to help you.